Inoue is a monster, a boxing legend and a power puncher who can end a fight at any time. But across from him is an undefeated man with long arms, high volume, and zero experience of losing. Of course, Picasso isn't expected to win, but can confidence, output, and reach create chaos? Could he be competitive and cause an upset? Let's talk about it. Naoya Inoue is one of my favorite boxers, and he is fighting the undefeated Alan David Ray Picasso. And we already know what Inoue is. He is absolutely exceptional. Great speed, great power, and he is simply a legend. His left hook to either head or body is explosive, and his 1-2, it's quick and it's sharp, with the balance of speed and the balance of power. And sometimes he will jab to the body, and he will set up that jab to the body, which then sets up that massive right hand. So in a simple sense, Inoue is an anomaly. Why is he an anomaly? Because he is a power puncher at a lower division. That makes him the anomaly. He doesn't just win rounds. He changes fights, or has the potential to change fights in a single moment. In Japan, he is celebrated as a massive boxer, a massive brand. But more importantly, from a boxing fan perspective, he can fight. He's a great fighter, and he brings excitement. He's an offensive fighter, offensively minded. So as expected, Inoue is the favorite. He's the overwhelming favorite. But who is Alan Picasso? Against Kameda, when Picasso fought Kameda, I thought it was Kameda that actually looked really impressive. So in that fight, I felt like Picasso did show some good things. He showed a good left hook to the body, so he throws that punch a lot. And he also showed some straight right hand counters that landed clean. But at first glance, I didn't see the ring IQ that can contest with Inoue. So I saw ring IQ, but not enough of it that it looked like it can contest with Inoue. It felt like he had some weapons, but the timing, the decision-making, it wasn't consistent. He wasn't able to make outstanding adjustments. One thing that stood out was Kameda was having success with the left hook to the body. Now that really matters because Inoue sets up his left hook to the body with a 1-2. So sometimes he'll throw the 1-2 on its own, but then sometimes he'll throw the 1-2 and then add that left hook to the body. So, it's really imperative that Picasso deals with the 1-2 and is able to compete with that left hook to the body. If he is unable to compete with that, he is going to have some real problems. Now, I guess the question is, what can Picasso do defensively? What has he shown? And I noticed that Picasso sometimes leans on his front foot with a very high guard. Now, a high guard can look safe, but it can also invite body shots. And leaning on the front foot means that your weight is committed. And if you do that against Inoue and you're unable to judge the distance correctly, you give him a shorter distance and a more predictable target with the right hand. So Inoue's right hand will have a quicker destination if you're here as opposed to if you're on your back foot. And of course, the left hook to the body will be there too. I was actually looking at the comment section of the Kameda fight, and he was quite disparaging of Picasso's chances. And when I did my little look of Picasso, I can kind of understand why that is. But we've got to give Picasso credit, but Inoue is just so exceptional. However, against Sabello, we had a dominant performance. So when Picasso fought Sabello, he was dominant. And Picasso stalked him, repeatedly hit him with lefts to the body. And in that fight, he looked quite an imposing figure. His long arms made it hard for Sabello to escape. And he looked very comfortable, and he was controlling the distance and he was controlling the space. So his opponent was unable to escape, and that was mainly down to his feet and his long arms. So there's an obvious question here. Why did he look so dominant against Sabella but struggle with Kameda? And there's a few things we need to address here. First of all, his styles make fights. That's fairly obvious. Kameda's movement, intensity, and tempo really disrupted Picasso, and he was making Picasso reset and think. And the other point, perhaps, is pedigree. The level of opponent changes what you can get away with. So a higher level of opponent will typically give you less punching opportunities. If Picasso had moments of struggle with Komeda, though, then the jump to Inoue is a very serious one. It's a very serious one because I would say that there's a large jump from Komeda to Inoue. From my perspective, I have not really seen any evidence that would make me think Picasso would win or be significantly competitive based on the evidence. But boxing is not only about evidence. Boxing has multiple variables, whether it's psychology, confidence, and what a man becomes on the night. So sometimes people can just transform and give performances that they haven't shown before. So clearly Picasso has the psychology of an undefeated fighter. What does that mean? Well, it means in theory he doesn't know how to lose. That psychology could be beneficial. That means he brings belief into the ring, and belief affects every asset or every element of boxing, whether it's camp, preparation, commitment to a plan, and staying strong in tough patches, because Picasso will have tough patches against Inoue. He also has a longer reach. And I would say a longer reach is a very significant advantage of boxing. However, you need to know how to use it. Some fighters can keep you on the end of their jab all night long. Think of Larry Holmes, think of Lennox Lewis, etc. So the key question is, can Picasso use his jab effectively in this fight? Can he score points? Can he cause disruption? And can he use it to set up the backhand effectively? Only time will tell. But reach plus confidence, that is a real combination of danger. So Picasso is the overwhelming underdog, but he does bring some things to the table. Now, often boxing can reveal who we really are. It shows how strong you are, how well you deal with pressure, and how well you adapt. The ring, as Teddy Atlas states, it's the chamber of truth. You can't hide in the chamber of truth. So in my mind, the biggest question is, how will Picasso deal with the pace, the intensity, and the power? Because that's what Inoue brings to the table. I don't think he can replicate Inoue in camp. He can't replicate all the variables. And I think there's a difference in experience, ring IQ, and power. So it will take a meticulous plan executed with a small margin of error for him to cause, in a way, some real significant problems. Think of this. If Komeda's punching intensity and movement caused him distress, then how does he deal with Inoue? Because Inoue will have, in theory, more speed, more precision, and that speed and precision and power will create potentially greater consequences. Now, could there be things in Picasso that we haven't seen? Is there a performance that we haven't seen? Possibly. Maybe Picasso is able to change gears. Maybe he rises to the moment. But right now, all of that is assumption and all of that is speculation. Only maybe him and his team will know what levels that he has. One angle that is interesting is punch output. Now, Picasso can work at a higher volume, so he can typically throw 75 punches per round. In the sample we discussed, compared to Inoue, who typically can average 43 punches a round. So volume can create problems if you can take the return fire and stay disciplined. So if you can take Inoue's punches and still be able to have that higher output, then there might be a significant danger here, because throwing more punches will give Inoue more problems. However, it will also give Inoue more chances to counter. And let's be honest, Inoue is a monster. He is a legend, and he is truly, truly elite. The variables in this fight are psychology, the reach, the punch output, and how Picasso reacts to the punching power. How will he react to the left hooks, to the right hooks, to the straight rights, etc.? From the outside, looking in, the evidence for a Picasso victory seems very slim. However, boxing has surprises, and Picasso has everything to win and nothing to lose.